Beautifying a space usually has a domino effect, and we have the dining room to thank for the entire makeover of the cottage. Welcome back, ladies. Today I'm going to be sharing all of the many changes that I have made to our dining room. So this previously was the living room. However, I have used it as a dining room in the past, but more recently I've made a lot of different changes to this home, and it all started with this dining room set. And by that I mean changing the covers on the chairs here. So they were a teal color, and before that, when it was my Grammy's, it was a red with a black pattern on it. But when she originally purchased this at an auction, it had a light blue. All of the chairs were had a light blue cover to them. So I think that it's really nice to bring it back to what it originally used to look like, and I just fell in love with this light blue. It's a faux suede that I found at Joann Fabrics, and when I saw it, I just knew. And they also had it in a very pale green as well. So I just felt, you know, either of them would have been great, but really blue mixed with the yellow, it just was perfect to me. So then my friend Jessica had mentioned that I should probably paint if I wanted to paint the piece, but still wanted to keep the color that it was, which is something that I really had an issue with for the whole time that I've had this whole set, was that did I really want to paint over the artwork that was there? Did I want to paint over this beautiful goldish yellow tone that I've loved all these years and that has been the backdrop to my life? I wasn't comfortable doing that. So she had suggested that I paint the background of this hutch right here. And I'm so happy that she suggested it. And actually somebody else also suggested that I do that as well. And when she said that, I thought, you know, that's something that I can do. So the inside of it was a gold, and all of the dinnerware that I had in there kind of got lost. All of the pink depression glass got lost amongst all the gold. So now I feel, while it's still, and it's probably due to it just being transparent dinnerware, it's still not something that jumps out at you. That's okay. It's just something that looks beautiful now and kind of breaks up all of the yellow and gold tone. So I'm really happy with the way that it looks, and even those that have see it in person say that, you know, it almost looks like the same color as the wall, but there is a slight variation to it. It is a light blue. I color matched with these cushions here. I color matched the fabric, and they did a really great job. So I just wanted to have color, and I've already talked about choosing the Garden Vista for the walls, and that was something that I wanted to paint the entirety of the room. So that's what we did, and I think that it all looks really great together. It gives it more of an enchanting look, I feel, and I'm very pleased with how it all turned out. So it's something that sometimes we can worry a lot about. How will it all come out? How will all of these colors look together? But one of the things that I used as inspiration for the color choice within here was a piece of art that I had in my kitchen. But not only that, it also needed to look good with the art that I had already hanging on the wall. Now I had these two pieces on either side of the hutch in the other area, which is now my living room. And if you missed the living room makeover, I hope you will go back and watch that. That was in last week's video. But I wanted to go with a green that had more of a blue tone to it, or, you know, a blue undertone to it. And that is what you would see within the artwork of the roses that I have and that I already had in this space. Now, when it came to where I was going to place that framed art, at first I thought that it would be on either side of the hutch again. But because I have this gold mirror on that same wall as the hutch, I thought maybe I better put it on either side of the window. So that is what I had my husband do, and I'm really pleased with the way that that turned out. And I didn't know, with these extra chairs that I recently purchased around the time that well, I already had them when we recovered the chairs, but I wanted to have some extra chairs for this table because this table has 3 leaves to it. And whenever we have family gatherings, I like to bring out extra chairs. And I wanted to have some that looked very similar to what we already have. There's just something about bringing out folding chairs to such a beautiful table that always made me a little sad. And also trying to bring in all of the various chairs that I do have within the home. Some of them, you know, are just a little too bulky and just don't look right with the table itself. So it's really nice to have 6 extra chairs, and I had my husband recover all of those so that we can have these chairs to bring into this space. Now, some of them are scattered throughout the home, but the rest of them are in the garage, and we have a space for them. And like I said, it's just nice to have the real chairs, the cane back chairs that are very similar to the ones that I have here. So I have 3 chairs within here of the 6. I have one down the hallway at the secretary desk with the hutch, and then I have 2 on either side of the buffet table. Now, the buffet table was something that, while it faced the dining room when it was in the other section, it was something that kind of bothered me because all of the frames that I had on that table faced away from the door. And so all I could see were the backs of them. But having it in the middle of the room, one or the other, it was either on the back or the front. And it was also overwhelming to have all of those pictures on there. Now, I still like having pictures on tabletops as opposed to having them hanging on a wall, especially of people. So what I ended up doing was putting the extended family at the end of the hall. So we still have pictures of family out, but having too many items out in a space can become overwhelming to some of us. And for myself, that was definitely the case. So I decided just to have a few out on the buffet table, and now that is in front of this window right here. And I just like the simplicity of it. I added a couple of pots with the China doll plant that I have, as well as the other plant that I have growing. I added those which were on the entryway table before, but now I don't have room for them on the entryway table because I have flip-flopped the entryway table with another secretary desk that I have. So I needed to find a spot for this secretary desk that I had been using within my office area, within the morning room, and then I moved it into the living room area. But I wanted something a little lower in front of the window. And so I decided to use the entryway table, which there was very little contrast with this table and the walls. So I thought that having the white secretary desk would be better as an entryway table. One of the things I like about having this as an entryway table is that there's very little space to put anything on top of there. So it's not going to become a catch-all with those walking in. And I was actually having a problem with that, with the kids just putting stuff on top of this little table that I had. And it also wasn't being used to its fullest. So the entryway table that I had previously there, it was a crescent shape, and on the flat surface, or the flat side of it, there were 3 drawers to it. And I had that facing the wall before because I just thought, oh, if I have the crescent shaped table there, it will offer me more space when you walk in to the house. So it's just nice to be able to utilize the drawers fully now. And I have the secretary desk that actually makes a great entryway table because you can put everything away, but then fold it down when you need to use that. So if you need to jot down a note, or if you want to write some letters out, then you have all of that space when you open that desk up, but you are able to put it away and it's not going to be that catch-all space. And so I definitely like to store all of my stationery in there, which, by the way, I have a whole new series that I am going to be sharing, especially with my pen pals and painting pals over on Patreon, but it will also be for the next 5 months what I am going to be releasing each month, a new piece of stationery from this series. So anyway, it was really inspired by all of the green that I have within my home now. So it's called Enchanted, and I think that it's very fitting. But I have a letter sorter on the top there, and I also had my husband, he raised the mirror, and it just seems like more of a statement now. When you walk into this space, I really love how high the mirror is hung on this wall now. And it was also going to be a continuation of the wall mural because it's all on the same wall as the mural that is within the living room space now. So my daughter is not currently home. She's not able to completely finish this mural just yet, but I have so much that I would like her to add to it. It's a work in progress, this whole mural. And I think that it will be a really great addition, especially when you first walk into the home. The way that this entryway table is situated, I needed to make sure that there was space, of course, for the door to open. So that I thought would be a wonderful place to begin the mural because it will balance out what I have there. So whenever the door is closed, there will still be something beautiful on the wall there. But before, I just always left it blank. So this will be a wonderful addition and continuation of this mural. Now, some may say that would be way too much to have in that area, and the way that it is just fine. But it's definitely something that I am willing to give a try, and I think that she just did such an amazing job so far. I'm looking forward to her adding to it. So anyway, the way that this is set up now is something that I think really looks great. And then let's talk about even the way things look from the window as well as when you open your door. So this has been something that I have been thinking a lot about, especially since we've moved the TV. The TV isn't in the dining room. You probably noticed that it wasn't in the living room as well. Where did the TV go? Well, that has been moved to the morning room. Next week, I plan on sharing the makeover of the morning room and the addition of a TV and how I have everything placed in there, but there was no longer any room for the bistro set that I had in there. And so we brought that back out front. And before, I would always think about the way that the home looked when you would be driving by it. How did this little bistro set look out front? Where should it be placed based off of how it would look from the curb? Well, I've since changed my mind, and especially because of the season. We are in the summertime. And so I wanted to be able to use this space and use it well and use it appropriately, which would be mainly in the early morning hours and then in the evening hours. So to be able to use it in the morning and get the most use out of it, I needed to put it behind one of the biggest bushes that we have out there, which is a yellow bell. And that offers so much more shade now, and I'm able to extend the use of that space. And not only that, but when you look out this window right here, it is so picturesque in what I am able to see. So I have a lot of greenery out this front window, which is a dream come true for me. I just love being surrounded by greenery, something that is a little bit more difficult to achieve here in the desert, but we have made it work. And so choosing the right plants, of course, is important for that. But just having greenery surround me is such an enchanting thing. And I wanted to add to that just by placing furniture in a way that I would be able to view it from the inside, but also be able to extend the life of it from the outside. So that is what we did with this bistro set, and I just love the look of that. Looking out the window, it just looks beautiful. It's very inviting, and that's something that I want to make sure to feel, not only for those coming to my home, but also for myself and the way that I'm going to be using it and whoever is here within my home. Now let's work our way back into this dining room here. I have since added a whitewash, or should I call it a pink wash, to the buffet table. It's something that I knew eventually I would end up painting. Now, I've sat with it for a very long time. And before, when I originally got it, it was a cream color. I really loved it, but at some point I didn't have any room for it in here, and so I moved it to the back deck. But then it got a lot of sun damage and the paint was chipping, and so I eventually had my husband strip all of the paint off of it, put a varnish on it. It looked beautiful, but with it being in the dining room, it was just a little too brassy in my opinion. And so therefore I wanted to tone it down. But when I opened up the cream color chalk paint, it was all dried out. So all I had was some pink. It was called Antoinette. It was by the Annie Sloan chalk paint. And so I just added some water to it, and that was the first time I've ever done a whitewash on a piece of furniture. And now that I feel a lot more comfortable in doing that, I'm definitely going to be looking for a cream or that original Annie Sloan chalk paint, or any chalk paint really, but that's more of that cream color, and adding that to it because it does, I can really see the pink undertone to it now, but that is something that I know I'm going to have on my list of things to do. And I really love the way that it turned out. Now come back later this week because I am going to be with some more morning motivation, inspiring you hopefully to go through some of those spaces that maybe you might be changing different furniture around, you might be shifting things around, and you want to make sure to have the right things in the right places. And that is what I need to do with all of the movement that I've had within this space. I have things that I definitely need to move around and make sure that I have the proper things in the proper place. So I really hope that this video inspired you in some way, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.